Hey, welcome into the television version of Strategies for Living. I'm marriage and family therapist David McMillan. I'm delighted that you've tuned in, joined with me today here on Strategies. Strategies for Living, well, we're all about helping us live healthier, happier, more peaceful lives in our bodies, in our minds, in our spirits, in our relationships here in the 21st century. And we do that by engaging in important conversations with folks we like to call life strategists. Each and every time we do Strategies for Living. And today, our life strategist covers all of those bases and more. He is a friend of mine from Richardson, Texas. He is professional intuitive Robert Caruso. Robert, welcome to Strategies.
Hey, how's it?
I'm excited about this. Now, we're doing something new today. We've never done this on the television version of Strategies. You are our first long distance Skype guest here on Strategies for Living. Now, but you're an intuitive. You already knew that, right?
Right.
Yeah. What is a professional intuitive, Robert?
Well, in my opinion, it's different than the carnival acts you usually see. Okay, what it is you kind of tune into people, you find out what's going on in their lives, and you help them kind of straighten things out so they can understand them.
Right.
You're able to see into somebody else's personality, whether they're having the right intentions, whether they're going to be right for whoever, or, it goes into all areas of life, really. And The idea is to not only tell them where they stand, but tell them where they're headed. And many times it goes into how to avoid going there. Say where they're headed is in a good place.
Right.
You unravel that thinking, and then you can see where it goes next. You see what I'm saying?
Absolutely. And, you and I have entered into some cooperative work together that we're going to talk about today. But I've just got to say at this juncture, you and I haven't known each other for a long period of time, and yet, I don't know, it just seems like we've been buddies for a long, long period. I don't know why that is. Maybe there was a connection there. But the first time that you worked with me, you got my attention right away because I asked you, I said, what do you want me to tell you about me? And I'll never forget, you said nothing. And you said, I just want to know the area that you're most interested to start in. And I told you, and then you began to incredibly tell me what was going on in my life at that moment. And you did it in such specific detail, even down to a person's hair color. I don't know whether you remember that or not. And it got my attention in a big way. How do you do that? Have you been able to do this? Have you been able to do this your entire life, or how do you do what you do?
Well, I kind of uncovered it back in, many years ago. I uncovered it. I had a lot of anxieties, I fought a lot, I did a lot of drugs, stuff like this. And when I decided to rehabilitate myself, as I would break these mental blocks that were causing these problems, my intuition just started to grow. And before long, people were coming to me, and I had no idea I was going to do this for a living. It just kind of became so overwhelming, so many people, that I just kind of went there.
Right.
And that's what I teach. I teach, everybody has the ability. Now, you may not put as much into it as I have, so you may not do what I do, but you can definitely uncover it enough so that you would know not to date this certain person or not to take that particular investment. Your dog is going to be okay, as opposed to that, paying his bills by doing an operation that's not necessary.
Right.
Things like that.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
So you're saying that every single one of us has the ability. Some of us hone it, and some of us don't. Is that basically what you're saying? Right. So, you and I have talked about this in our conversations. For years, Robert, I said to myself, I don't have a psychic or intuitive bone in my body. And so I didn't. And quite interestingly, several months ago, and this would include your and my relationship, things began to happen where I began to see that I do have, and in relationships with people like you who have encouraged me, now I see that I probably should not have said I don't have a psychic bone in my body. Was I blocking myself?
Yeah, you can block yourself, and what ends up happening is you just explain everything away or you ignore it. A good story that talks about that is I opened a store called The Rabbit Hole, and it was a metaphysical store, and the police don't really like those kind of stores because a lot of times they'll sell crack pipes, whatever.
Right.
Anyway, I wasn't. But anyway, the guys came in and they were looking sideways at me, and they were like looking for stuff I was doing wrong. And the guy asked, "So what do you do here?" And I said, "Well, I do intuitive readings and I teach people how to do it." And he goes, "Really?" Like he really wasn't wanting to believe that, you see. I said, "Well, think about this. If you were able to walk up on a guy and know if he was holding a weapon, or know if he's the guy you're looking for, or know if he's lying, wouldn't that make your job easier?" He goes, "Well, I'd like to think I do that already." I said, "You do.
Yeah.
I could teach you how to do it better."
Whoa.
And that's really what it is everybody uses it every day. They just don't know it. They use the subtle stuff, like, "Well, it's not time to call that person yet." Or, "Yeah, I need to talk to my mother," or something like that. And that's the subtle stuff that people do day to day, but the problem is they could do a lot more.
Right.
And by doing so, they can avoid a lot of things, bad marriages. I mean, I could go on for a week, you say. And so that's the thing. It's a human ability. It's not some gift. It's not a gift to anybody, If it's a gift at all, it's the ease that you learn it. But as for real, it's just human ability. Yeah.
All right, so you teach other people to do this as part of you and folks, Robert's number's up on the screen, and he does an incredible job with, what do you call them, sessions, or do you call them counseling sessions, readings? How do you refer to what you do?
A lot of times they're called readings, but I call them sessions because they're not just readings.
Right, there's so much more.
Yeah.
And so you can, but in addition to that, you also teach. You have an institute where you teach others. You could even teach an old counselor and broadcaster how to do this, right?
I could do it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if you are interested, Robert Caruso can be reached at the number on the screen, 469-546-8017, and that's the number to call him for information or for an appointment, and you can see what we're talking about. I had an interesting thing happen yesterday, Robert. You and I have entered into some joint work where some clients who are seeing me are also getting some help within session with you. And we're going to be doing some research on that and some writing about that coming up in the future. But yesterday, you had taped previously a session with a young lady. Her name starts with an A. And for some reason, I had not had an opportunity to listen to that. I was listening to that 20-some-odd minute tape yesterday, and she texted me.
Oh.
And the particular circumstance, when I told her what I had been doing, it gave her a sense of relief for what was going on with her yesterday. And we then talked about there are no such things as coincidence. And I just found it totally You know, what are the odds? What are the odds of that? I don't know. I'm not a statistician, but it's got to be in the tens of thousands to one. Yeah. That I would happen to put that
the
on.
way I look at it is whenever you were listening to the tape, and when that happens, she can almost kind of feel you because everything's electromagnetic, everything's vibrational, you know. So she was probably feeling it a little bit.
Yeah.
You see.
Yeah.
And so it gave her some subtle inclination to give you a text, you know.
Right.
But
Right. Yeah. Well, she was.
a lot of people have trouble understanding this, but to me, if they just look at their cell phone, they've got the answer how this works.
Okay, so again, so like cell phones, the transmission's there all the time. The key is, do you have the
Right.
instrumentation on your end to tune in? And that's what you teach, right? That's what you've learned, what you've honed.
Yeah, how to be sensitive to it and how to interpret it. A lot of times when you're doing readings with people or reading into them, the information will be really subtle, or it can be like symbolic. You see?
Yeah.
Like I might see somebody and there could be a lot of darkness around them. So I would say, okay, they're kind of depressed or they're not feeling well.
Right.
Another way for that to show up is maybe they're always looking down. That would do it. Or they're looking around a lot. That would be confusion. You see?
Right.
There's all these different symbols, and what I teach is how to recognize.
Okay. We are talking to professional intuitive Robert Caruso from Richardson, Texas. He is our life strategist today, and we've got a lot more with Robert. He's got a lot to teach us, so stay with us. More strategies for living with Robert Caruso today to come. We'll be right back.
In 1977, in Johannesburg, South Africa, an 8-year-old boy picked up the game of golf from his father. By the age of 9, he was already outplaying him. The odds of this gentle lad winning the Junior World Golf Championships at the age of 14, 1 in 16 million. The odds of that same boy then making it to the US and European Pro Golf Tours, 1 in 7 million. The odds of the Big Easy winning the Open Championship once and the US Open Championship twice, 1 in 780 million. The odds of this professional golfer having a child diagnosed with autism, 1 in 110. Ernie Els encourages you to learn the signs of autism at autismspeaks.org. Early diagnosis can make a lifetime of difference.
Take 4.
Shot 40, take 1,297.
What?
Guys, help me!
Good.
Hey, welcome back. Welcome back into the television version of Strategies for Living. I'm marriage and family therapist David McMillan. You are obviously watching Strategies for Living today. Don't forget, you can listen to Strategies for Living because we started this all on the radio. We're still on the radio. News Radio 710 Keel Sunday mornings between 9:05 and 10. You can also get us at www.strategiesforliving.com, and you can read us in the Shreveport Times Voices section every Wednesday. Today, our life strategist is intuitive counselor Robert Caruso from Richardson, Texas, and incredible gift. You can find him at robertcarusoonline.com, and you can call him at 469-546-8017. What's the most common reason that people get referred to you, and is there a most common reason, Robert, that people want your services?
Yeah, people's love life, or actually just relationships in general. That's the biggest thing. Behind that's money, and then it's just whatever's going on, specific stuff.
Yeah. You mentioned that at the beginning of the program, you alluded to, I forget how you mentioned it now, but that you don't go in for all of the hoopla around what is so many people that do what you do, have the dog and pony show. It's all entertainment. I don't want to. I'm not asking you to get negative, but you mentioned to me that your practice took on a different feel, doubled in size once you decided who you were and what you were going to do. Talk a little bit about that, if you would.
Well, that's interesting because for a long time, I did it. I was in the late '80s, '90s when I was doing that, and back then they throw a rock statue for it. So whatever, that's figuratively speaking, whatever. But anyway, since I've been through this business, there's so much nonsense going on. So many people just really running a game to get money, to get their ego, juiced up, that sort of thing.
Right.
And I got to where I was really ashamed of the business, to where I was going to leave and go do a job somewhere. And that's why I don't do entertainment. I don't do entertainment at all, because what I do I feel is very serious. You can really hurt somebody by just playing a game, by just coming off the top of your head with stuff. I've seen people lose thousands and thousands of dollars because someone went off into some jargon instead of really doing the job, doing the work,
Right.
And they cover it up by using all this, I call it airy-fairy stuff, all the stuff that you can't really verify. This is happening, your cat died because you killed a cat 3 lifetimes ago, or something like that, the stories that come out of this business is almost maddening. It's crazy. And I've seen people, seriously, the worst one I saw so far has lost $70,000.
Oh, my goodness.
Going to stuff.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah. And what she did was play them off each other. She told the guy that God wants him to chase women, wants him to help women through their grief, you see.
Oh.
And that played into his fear of marriage. Well, his girlfriend, who thought she was going to get married, literally divorced her husband to marry him, was going, wow, where's he at now? Because he wasn't there for her. So he recommended she call that reader. So she called the reader, and the reader said, of course, yeah, he does have that, but I'm feeling that what needs to happen is you need to pay more attention, just a little more attention, and it will work out. Well, meanwhile, she calls the guy and tells him, okay, God wants you to pay attention to your girlfriend now. She bounced them back and forth until they had $70,000. Yep.
Goodness.
Very good. And it didn't do them any good. They literally almost went to where they split up totally.
Wow.
And it's horrific. And that's the worst case. A lot of them are more like kind of carnival acts where they just are trying to make people smile. They're trying to make them happy. They're trying to, they're doing what they know how to do.
Right.
And their goal, they want to tell them the truth, but they really don't want them to get mad at them. So
Right.
they end up with nonsense.
Sometimes,
Or big stuff.
sometimes,
What I do, people get mad at me all the time.
right,
But they come back.
right, because they know it's the truth.
Absolutely. And they know it when they're mad.
Yeah, I recall that line from the movie. What was it? You can't handle the truth.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and
It's that way,
sometimes we can't.
One good story on that. I'll just do this real quick. Is I had a reading. I was doing a reading for a woman in, I think it was New Mexico, and I looked into it. I said, "Wow, this guy looks really far away, man. Doesn't look like it's going to work between you, No, I know it's going to work." I said, "But I'm seeing it, and it isn't going to work." I said, "You haven't even talked to him all right?" She goes, "Well, it's been 6 years." I said, your relationship isn't working, okay? And it's not going to get better because it feels like he's married, that sort of thing.
Right.
I know one woman. She thought she had a relationship through telepathy. So this other reader got a hold of her, and she went from being married with a pretty nice family, $2 million a year income, to working paycheck to paycheck at some accounting firm.
Oh no.
Because this woman spun her head around a little.
Wow.
And at the last I talked to her, this is interesting. Last I talked to her, she called me and she goes, "Robert, you need to read me." I had told her I wouldn't read her anymore. I told her she needed professional help. Then she went to this other reader. Anyway, "You need to read me at least one more time." I said, "Sure, okay, whatever." And she goes, she goes, "Well, this reader, I'm not going to use a name, this reader told me that this man is trying to steal my soul." And I said, "Well, she's wrong." I said, and then I go, "If he stole it, what's he going to do with it?" Doesn't make any sense,
Yeah.
And then she said, "Well, he's supposed to be a warlock and she's supposed to be a witch." And I said, "What makes you think they're stealing your soul? Okay, really, what are you experiencing?" "Well, when I leave the gym and I'm driving, all these headlights are in my eyes." I said, "Yeah, that's glare."
It's called traffic. Oh,
That's
Lord.
traffic. I get that too.
Lord.
But it ruined her life.
How does it come to you when you work with someone like me, and you read me? We're over the phone. You're not seeing me. What comes into do you get a mental image or a picture in your head? How does that happen?
Well, I don't really get a picture of the person I'm reading. I just kind of see what they're needing to see. So when I go into it, I can feel, okay, I may feel that this is going to be a little weird, but I may feel a twitch in my shoulder or something. And then that'll make me think of something.
Right.
Or I may feel a little bit of anxiety just really fast. Then I'll know what that is, you see.
Right.
And then I'll feel, when I'm talking about that, I may feel a pressure, and then I know that there's a depressive action to it, or a depressive issue. And then I'll start seeing maybe a person or whatever and what they're doing. And it's almost like a maze. When I say one thing, it takes me to another.
Right.
And then to another. You see? It's pretty interesting.
You told
even to
me.
the point, I've been doing this forever, And I've even had a lot. Every now and then, I'm even going, "Wow, that was weird."
It even surprises you.
It just comes how it comes.
You told me a few weeks ago. You said you've got a problem in your lower left back, and I said, "No, I don't. I feel fine." And we laughed about it. About 5 days later, I called you and I said I referred to you in a less than nice kind of way, and said, "You know what? Exactly where you said I was going to have a problem. Yep, I've got a problem." Robert, it is a pleasure. You're going to have to come back and do this again. My only complaint is time goes too quick with you. So
does go.
can we do this some more?
Anytime.
All right. Professional Intuitive Counseling, Robert Caruso, Richardson, Texas. You can find him at 469-546-8017 or at robertcarusoonline.com. And I thoroughly endorse Robert Caruso and look for some joint work between Robert and I in the future. Folks, thank you for tuning into Strategies for Living today. I hope you learned something from Robert. I know I always do. And join us, News Radio 710 Keel, Sunday mornings between 9 and 10, and at www.strategiesforliving.com. For Robert Caruso, I'm marriage and family therapist David McMillan. See you next time here on Strategies for Living.